Good afternoon. Right, something a bit special today. Curry. It's, if you're from the 80s, if you ever had a Kashmiri curry, which had banana in it, this will take you straight back. This would also be a very, very passable coronation chicken, or in my case at the moment, partridge. Coronation chicken curry. You can make it vegetarian, so you can have it as a fruit curry, and you can also make it vegan by omitting the dairy and replacing with coconut milk. So you can make three separate curries from this: a vegan, a vegetarian, and a good old-fashioned carnivore. So what do we need? Well, some sultanas. If you don't have a problem with coronation chicken, which has sultanas in it, you shouldn't have a problem with fruit in curry, so well done, because it can be a contentious issue. Sultanas, bananas, they are optional, but if you want the Kashmiri kind of curry that you used to get in the 80s, you're going to need them. I'm using partridge, but you could use chicken. You don't have to have meat at all. As I say, it's a completely optional thing. You could even use shrimp, prawn, doesn't matter. Coconut milk instead of cream and yogurt, not all three. So I'm going to go with the dairy one. So I'm not going to use coconut milk, but you can do if you want this to be vegan. 1.5 large onions, or in my case, I'm just going to use 2 sort of medium onions. 2 tomatoes. A green apple. This is from my tree. So it's not a very big one, but then again, we're only going to need sort of half of that. Some fresh ginger. Some fresh garlic. Some salt. Some tomato ketchup. Chili powder. Again, if you don't want a little bit of heat in your chili, in your curry, sorry, don't add chili powder. Completely optional. Garam masala. Curry powder. In my instance, I'm using korma because this is quite like a korma curry. And some turmeric. So they are your base ingredients. Now, oh, sorry, the other thing you'll need, some generic cooking oil. So the first thing to do here is you have to chop the onions up fine, because you're gonna have to puree them, and it's really difficult to do by hand. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna use my food mixer, food blender. So take the onions, peel them, chop them fine, and then we're going to turn those into a puree. The other thing we need to do is peel the ginger, and we want about 2 tablespoons of ginger and 2 tablespoons of sort of ground up, smashed up garlic. And again, I'm going to cheat and use my food blender, but it doesn't matter how you do it. But about 2, sorry, did I say teaspoons? Tablespoons. My apologies, it's teaspoons. So it's 2 teaspoons of ginger and 2 teaspoons of garlic. So I'm just going to clear my bench, and we'll do the onions, and then we'll do the garlic and the ginger. So please bear with me, I'll be back shortly. I thought I'd do this in its entirety because you can then see. If you don't want to watch me chopping the onions, feel free. Okay, so that's me being all ultravox with tears in my eyes from doing the onions. So, and now I'm just going to transfer them into the blender. Oh wow, oh my eyes. For some reason I am really genuinely susceptible to onions. My eyes are stinging. Okay, so there we go. Now, I sometimes find this sticks. And I'll just have to add a little bit of water, and it's no problem because we can cook the water out. And there we go. So it'd be very, very difficult to chop that finely with your hand, and you see it's just now just puree. So now take a decent sized frying pan, pop back over here, and add to that 4 tablespoons of oil. And just put that on on mine from 1 to 10. I'm putting it on a number 4. Doesn't want to be ridiculously hot, but we do want to cook the onions. Now, while that's cooking, or heating through I should say, the next thing, do excuse me one moment. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is peel and chop the ginger. So 2 teaspoons of chopped ginger. And you may not know this, I didn't. I'm growing ginger in my kitchen in the UK. If you were to plant that in some compost, keep it indoors, this time of year particularly, just keep it moist. After mine took 3 months but after 3 months it'll sprout, and that's what mine's done. I'll show you before I close the video down. I was astonished. I didn't expect ginger to grow in the UK, but it does. It's difficult to say how much is 2 teaspoons. So I only discovered this curry a few weeks ago, and I've made it about 5 times, and I've just sort of honed and perfected, if you will. That might not be as far off as much ginger as we need. I can always keep the rest for another batch. So, garlic. That's probably not a bad guess. I would probably have said 4 big cloves like this would probably be sufficient. We'll soon find out. I'll do 1 extra just in case there isn't quite enough. So that should be all the garlic and ginger that we need. So now that oil should be something approaching cooked. I'll take my spatula. Yes, I know. Spatula. Why people call them spatulas, I have no idea. And in goes the onion. You'll find really any good quality traditional curry starts this way. Now let's just have a little bit more heat on there. And just while that starts to heat through. We'll do the garlic and the ginger. Okay, so start with the ginger. Again, if you wish to do it by hand, do so. Me, it's just going straight on the blitzer. Piece of ginger that didn't want to die. Okay, so now the onions are simmering away nicely. Now you want to cook those for about 5 minutes. You do not want them browning. Don't make them go brown. So keep an eye on the heat and just keep an eye on things. Now, where did I put my spoons? So, two teaspoons of ground and pulverised ginger. Okay, so one. I'm not going to add them just yet. I just want the onions just to cook out a little bit. So 1, 2, and then see there's another. There's a little bit spare. And then we'll repeat that with the garlic. Okay, so again, 2 teaspoons of well smashed up garlic. Okay, so they've sort of had 5 minutes cooking. So now add, sorry, let me There we go. So now add the ginger and the garlic into the onions. Give it a stir. And now let that cook for another couple of minutes. Again, I've not increased the heat. It's just gently cooking through. And while that cooks, I'm just going to tidy the side up and we'll get ready for the next step. Okay, so for the next bit, you're going to need 2 tomatoes, tomato ketchup, curry powder, in my case korma, turmeric, and if you wish, chili powder. And just, you can slice the tomatoes into any way you see fit and add them in. Just make them into bite-sized pieces, I think is the sort of thing here. Then 1 tablespoon of tomato ketchup. Quick stir, do excuse me, just want to rinse that. Right, korma curry powder, 1.5 tablespoons curry powder. Yep, 1.5 tablespoons of your chosen curry powder. That's 1.5, that'll do me. 1 teaspoon of turmeric, and I'm always a little bit generous with my spices. And 1 teaspoon, if you wish, or more or less, of chili powder, and this is quite hot chili powder. Okay, and a good stir. Oh, smells delicious. So again, just give that a minute or two just to cook. Sorry, I should have had the camera on that part, my apologies. So we're just giving that a minute or two, and then we're going to add the meat. So while that cooks through, I'm just going to... So if you were using chicken, you'd probably want, say, 400 grams. I'm using, well, this is partridge. Now again, the meat is completely optional. You don't have to have any meat in this at all. I bring that back a little bit and do that there. Apologies, that might be a little bit better. My kitchen's not really geared up for camera work, and neither am I. I do this because this really is a good recipe. Now, if you are going down the vegetarian route, you will now need yogurt and cream. If you are going down the vegan route, you will need coconut milk. I'm going down the carnivore route. So you will need 4 tablespoons of yogurt. And this is just the cheapest one I could find at my local convenience store. So 1, 2, 3, and a generous 4. And then I need 150 millilitres or grams of single cream. No, 149. In that goes. Okay, and a stir. So a great deal of the liquid, the water, will actually will cook out. It'll just go with cooking. Now, okay. So if you are now adding half an apple, now is the time to add it. And again, peel. If it's a green apple like this one, then you may find you need slightly smaller chunks. If it's a softer apple, you may get away with slightly bigger chunks. And again, this is completely optional. Okay, so in with the apple. Sultanas. Well, personal preference really. For me it's about that many. A teaspoon of garam masala. Again, all of my teaspoons are generous. And then, if you are after the traditional Kashmiri curry from the 80s, which I am because I loved them, okay, banana. If you are going to freeze this dish, do not add the banana now. Take it out of the freezer and then 5 or 10 minutes before it's finished cooking, add your banana. Something happens to the banana in the freezer and it goes, I don't know, it just goes hard, it becomes quite tasteless. As I say, I've done this recipe now 4 or 5 times and I did a big batch of it and I froze it and I discovered that. But it's perfectly fine to add the banana now if you are not going to freeze it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, just needs leaving now to cook over quite a lowish heat until the meat has thoroughly cooked through. So probably a good half an hour, 40 minutes. And then we'll come back and we'll do a bit of a taste test. Okay, as I promised, this is my ginger plant. And I don't think you can see that, but I planted that on the 20th of April. It's now the 8th of October. So as I say, it took several months. I just left it, it was outside, it was out of the frost. I just left it outside to its own devices, and this is what's happened. I don't really know what's happening under the soil. I'm just going to leave it, but there you go. Growing a ginger plant in the UK. Okay folks, so here we are, about 50 minutes later, and as you can see, all the water's almost disappeared. The banana has kept its shape, and that is now ready to be served. However, I will give you one last piece of advice. Cover it up and leave it till tomorrow. It's so much better the day after. It just seems to give, the flavours just seem to mingle, and it's really, 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 really delicious the day after. But there you go, that's a genuinely delicious blast from my past, or a coronation chicken curry that can be carnivore, vegetarian and vegan. So do give it a try. It's worth every bit of effort. It really is spectacularly good, better than anything you'll get from a typical nasty takeaway. Thanks for watching, take care.